Welcome to Rise and Reinvent, the podcast where we explore real stories of transformation, growth, and leadership. Today, I'm excited to introduce Bryan Coller, a director at Invisia, longtime software consultant, and servant leader with 25 years of industry experience. From nearly walking away from his career in the first month to becoming a trusted voice in software development and team empowerment, Bryan shares how perseverance, adaptability, and purpose driven leadership shaped his journey. You're in for a powerful conversation about mindset, reinvention, and showing up for the things and the people that matter most. Let's dive in. I'm excited to welcome Bryan Coller to the Rise and Reinvent podcast. Bryan is a director at Invisia and a seasoned expert in software consulting. Bryan's journey spans from mastering software development practices to leading large, complex projects with a focus on delivering exceptional results. He's a firm believer that hard work and continuous improvement are key aspects to a successful career. Bryan, welcome to Rise and Reinvent.
Hello, Nicole. It's great to be here. I'm very excited to do this.
I appreciate your time and you being here today. You have such an inspiring story. We can't wait to share it with the rest of the world. So
Awesome.
to get started, I'd really like to hear from you, like who you are, not just your career, but where you started and how you became the person that you are today.
Yeah. We'll start with I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a Midwest boy. Uh, I'm a Badger. I went to the University of Wisconsin and studied electrical engineering there. Um, I would say so that focus on electrical engineering came from my father. He was an electrical engineer. He went to a small college up near Green Bay, if you're familiar with the Packers up there. Um, yeah, it kind of inspired me to go down that engineering path because I figured if I could get a degree in electrical engineering and computers were kind of coming up and the internet was kind of becoming a thing, uh, like I could probably do anything I wanted to. It gave me the opportunity to sort of spread my wings more so. Um, but I'm also the youngest of four boys. So my mom, definitely I was that last attempt at a girl. So unfortunately, she got a fourth boy. But the interesting thing about the four boys is we're all unique.
Okay.
We don't have like similar traits. Like the oldest, he was popular, he was well spoken. The kind of the life of the party. The second was more of the entrepreneur, independent individual. The third was a smart one. And then there's me. So I tried to figure out what gap I could fill. And I decided, well, or maybe I was decided for me that I would be the athlete of the family. Athletics, sports has always been a part of my life. So I played a lot of basketball growing up, played tennis competitively. That aspect of being in sports, being on a team, being a part of a team, and being a part of an initiative really kind of set that foundation for where I'm at in my career today.
Excellent. Um, being kudos to your mom and your parents because I'm a mother of three boys.
Yeah, sure.
And yes, the third, I couldn't stomach the thought of a fourth boy.
Yes.
So
I've,
kudos
I've
to your parents.
Yeah, I've got two kids of my own, a boy and a girl, so we're good at that.
Right. Excellent. So, as you talk about, okay, you got us through kind of, it sounds like college and early career. Tell us about a pivotal moment that really sparked reinvention for you.
Hmm. That's a good topic. I'd have to say so. So I was so in college, I was pre-selected to interview with the company I'm at now, Invisia.
Okay.
Uh, I interviewed with them. They liked what they saw. They extended me an offer. And I started back in June of 2000. So I just celebrated 25 years with the company. But back then, I was with the company a month and I really just didn't feel like I fit in.
Okay.
I was very intimidated. Uh, I was surrounded by super smart people solving really complex problems and doing it very naturally. And I felt like when a problem was placed in front of me, I had no idea how to approach it. So I felt like, like in college, you could solve problems, you knew the foundations of how to solve problems. And I felt like I didn't have that foundation that I needed to be able to build a career with Invisia. And so a month in, I walked into my boss's room and said, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And I basically said, "I don't think I'm cut out for this." And he's kind of paused and thought about it and, asked me more. I said, "Yeah, just everyone's so smart." And he's like, "Listen, we hired you for a reason. And, we see something in you that we know will come about eventually." He's like, "Just hang in there, uh, keep working hard, and it'll come around." And it was the pep talk I needed because at that point I felt like I was a burden to the team. I was kind of holding him back, and to hear that somebody, at my boss believed in me, it made me realize that, okay, just dig in a little more, work harder, study, do some research, uh, prepare yourself, be prepared. And 25 years later, here I am.
Yes. So great story and great start to your career. That's a brave move that you took by having that conversation. What changed for you mentally in order to shift your thinking into, okay, I'm good here. I'll be fine. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to my days in sports, so I don't say I'm naturally gifted at sports. I think what I was, so I was taller, so I had that aspect. I was always skinny and I was always kind of uncoordinated. So I had to work harder than I think other individuals who maybe were more naturally coordinated, more naturally athletic,
Hmm.
to get to the point where I could compete. Uh, and so I just always kind of realized that there was always a, a you know, an amount of duration that was needed, an amount of preparation that was needed to get myself to the point where, okay, I'm hanging with my peers. So after that talk with my boss, I realized, okay, I need to do the same thing that I did back in basketball and tennis and all those sports and things like that. I gotta just prepare myself, and there's ways to prepare yourself. I think about, like, I like to work out a lot. So um, doing pull-ups, like, how are you gonna go do 10 pull-ups in a row? You're not just gonna go jump on the bar and do 10 straight pull-ups. Most people can't do that. You're gonna try to do one, it's gonna struggle, but you do one at a time and you kind of build those muscles up and you build them stronger and stronger every time. So you keep working them. So I had to take a similar approach to software development where I I had to understand the patterns and I had to build that foundation, that strength, and then in that muscle memory. And then you do it for 40 hours a week, you do it for 52 weeks a year, and you start to something clicks along the way. And at some point something clicked. And it's like, okay, like, I get this. And now I've got some momentum. And
Mhm.
now I'm kind of, I'm really kind of becoming a badass at this software development thing. So I'm like, I got this, and it probably took me a good 6 to 9 months to get to that point where I had that level of confidence. But once I got it, I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. Like
That's
yeah, I got past that hurdle.
Thank you for sharing that. Because yeah, clearly where you are in your career today, you've advanced and you've changed your mindset around your success and the potential for your future. Um, so in the software industry, I know it's a constantly changing and evolving marketplace. What are the habits that help you stay adaptable in constantly changing work environments like the software development industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the term adaptable because I think in consulting, you don't know who your next client is. So I always talk with my teams about being adaptable. And part of being adaptable is providing is approaching a client or a customer with the idea of how can I help you? Like, how can I help you? Like, I know you want me to come in and build you this software. We've got deliverables that are listed in our statement of work. But at the end of the day, I have a set of skills that I've acquired over X amount of years. And I've got a team who has uh, unique skills as well that can provide any sort of value to a client. So how can we help you achieve your goals?
Hmm.
So by having that approach, it's not we don't have to adapt. We just have to ask the question, and then the client will basically say, "You can help us by doing this thing, by helping us build this thing, or helping us uh, present a unique customer, like an exceptional customer experience. Like, we want our customers to be able to make payments on time because it's super important to our revenue, and it's super important to provide a seamless experience to our customers. And then I take that mission, that vision, and I direct it to my team. I say, yeah, we're working for $1 billion company, and their customer experience is in our hands. So it's easy for somebody to adapt to the needs when you've got that vision or that mission or that purpose.
Yes. Purpose-driven leadership, servant leadership, empowerment of your teams, all great leadership skills that you've developed, it sounds like, over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
So as you think about maybe failure, right, in life and career, what lesson has failure taught you to succeed?
Yeah. Um, that's a great question. And I know that always comes up, but yeah, failure, like I've realized that failure is a stepping stone. And I know that's a cookie cutter answer, but really, like, every day I'm gonna have some level of a failure, and it's not like I had a bad day, but I may have had a bad moment.
Hmm.
So I really look at more as like collectively, did I, you know, that I may have not delivered some functionality on time, or I pushed out a defect, a big defect, and it went out to production and it caused that exceptional customer experience to be disrupted. And that might be on me, you know, but also I learned a lesson from it, and I learned, to put up, certain guardrails and things like that so that I don't make that same mistake again. And with my teams, the individuals who work for me, um, I want them to be able to take risks without worry, or I want them to be able to answer a question without fear of being wrong,
Yeah,
because otherwise I don't feel like they're empowered. And
right.
if they're just looking for me to answer the question every time, then I'm doing them a disservice in their own development. They're not going to be able to develop the same way maybe I was able to early in my career.
Yes, totally agree. Empowerment. I mean, your leadership style sounds like it's phenomenal. So
Oh,
that's wonderful.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Um, what is one leadership lesson you learned the hard way?
Ooh. Um, so I'm gonna go back 5 years ago. We had this thing called the pandemic.
Familiar with it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't recall, it actually did happen. But yeah, no, it's so my kids today, so they're 10 and 8 years old. So we're talking about 5 and 3 back then. My son just started kindergarten.
Mm.
I just started a new client in January of 2020. So I'm maybe 2 or 3 months into the client when the stay-at-home mandate was instated, and it was tough for me to deal with that because I've got one kid who's starting kindergarten, starting actual classroom behavior at my kitchen table on a Chromebook. And my daughter is being potty trained, you know, and all this is going on. And my wife, I got a beautiful wife, and she decided to leave her job in December of 2019 to spend some time with the kids and then look for a new job. And so she's out of work at that point. So she's managing the kids and managing the chaos that's going on over there, and I'm focused on my 9 to 5 job, and it was really tough for me to cope with. Um, so I had to figure out how to get through it. And at that time, one of the things I started doing was reading audiobooks. And so I'm a big fan of CrossFit. Again, I mentioned I work out a lot, and one of the CrossFit workouts is a workout called Murph. And Murph is Mike Murphy. He's a former Navy SEAL.
Okay.
So I started reading books about Navy SEALs. And one of the biggest leadership traits that I got out of that is get comfortable being uncomfortable. In the Navy SEALs, they have this training referred to as BUDS, or basic underwater demolition SEAL training.
Okay.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. You read,
Crazy.
yeah, you read these books and you hear about what these individuals go through and how, their mental toughness is the thing that gets them through. It's not about their physical toughness, it's about mental toughness. And that was the biggest leadership trait that was the best value I got, was when I realized, okay, I need to become more mentally tough. I need to
Mm.
be uncomfortable. I get comfortable being uncomfortable so that I can work while the chaos is going on. And it took some time. It took some work, but I feel like once I achieved that, now in this normal environment, or today's more normal than it was 5 years ago. I feel
Mhm.
I feel like I've got that on my tool belt now. That mental toughness is part of my tool belt, and it's part of my leadership style, and it's part of my everyday approach to challenges.
I love that. I really do. I need to go look up those books and listen to the books.
Yeah,
It's very powerful.
thank you. Yeah.
If you could give advice to your younger self at the start of a major transition, what would it be?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great question as well. Um, the best advice I would give myself at a major transition, like, can like, you're not just going to be gifted success. Like, success is not just gifted to you. It takes things like hard work. Takes things like preparation. It takes uh, it takes a good team. You don't have to do it yourself. You can lean on your team and you can lean on their strengths, but also you can evaluate their weaknesses and find ways to fill those gaps. So, don't, because I think growing up, I always felt like I needed to do things myself. Like I
Mhm.
needed to be successful as an individual. Uh, but as I've been working in consulting and I've been working with clients, I realized that it takes a successful team to be successful.
Yes. Okay. And you're doing that really well, it seems like. So, what would you say has been your biggest compromise in life and career?
Hmm. So I would say it feels weird to say this, but I would say my children. So being a professional and being a director, I feel like I need to give certain priority to Invisia and my clients.
Mhm.
Uh, but also I've got a son who plays three sports. I've got a daughter who's in gymnastics and dance, uh, and now she's getting into volleyball. Um, they need to be prioritized. So I need to give up a little bit. I need to carve out some of that professionalism. So when I'm on my laptop and I'm working and like I said, the 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it, that's my focus. That's my priority. But when those kids, when they need to be taken to practice, I also coach my son in basketball. So yeah, I'm a youth basketball coach. Um, so I need to prioritize that, and I need to prioritize the development of those kids. Because they're not looking to just sign up to bat for basketball to play the game. They're looking to become competitive. They're looking to develop their career in that sport. So from a compromise standpoint, yeah, I give up some of the aspects of my career and some of, maybe some of the after hours events and, some of the team building things, because I do want to focus on my family and I do want to give them the time and the prioritization that they need to be successful.
Excellent. Very important. I used to, as a leader, tell my team, family first, always.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No, and it's tough, right? That work-life balance because like we're all connected, right? And clients, you know, team members, they're going to be messaging you at night, and I might be at my son's game or, something like that. But, a lot of times it's like, okay, I can delegate this. I know who to reach out to. I can shift the responsibility. So being able to figure out how to delegate, like I said, I like to do things myself. So I like to solve problems myself, but that's another leadership trait that was key was being able to effectively delegate.
Okay, wonderful. As you reflect on your journey, what legacy do you hope to leave?
Ah, that is a good one. All right. What legacy do I hope to leave? Um, I like to help people. I really like to help people, and I would love people to think of me as a person who was always willing to lend a hand and make some sort of impact on those people who I helped. Like I say, as I grow older, it's harder for me to keep up with my 10-year-old son. He loves to go in the backyard, uh, throw the baseball. I got to get down in a catcher stance. So um, that's why I got to keep myself fit so I can keep up with him. Um, but my goal is to never say no to him. Like if he wants to go shoot the basket, shoot basketballs, like I never want to say no. So I want him to remember me as a person who was always there for him, who tried my best,
Hmm.
and he knew that if I ever had to say no, there's probably a really significant reason for it. So yeah.
That's a good legacy for sure. Um, my last question, what is your ultimate goal? What do you see as your personal definition of success? And it could overlap some with the answer you just gave, but in a few years from now, 5, 10 years from now, what do you see as your personal definition of success?
Yeah. I depending on when you would ask me that, you asked me 20 years ago, 25 years ago, my level of success is, get really good at software development. Like just be able to hang with my peers. We talked about that a little before. Um, and that goal evolves, so at some point I wanted to be able to help others become good at software development. So I really wanted to be a mentor. I wanted to be a good leader. I wanted to uh, be able to lead a team that could be successful and be able to deliver something to a client that they valued, and to be able to get the kudos and all the dopamine rushes that you get from like a job well done.
Hmm.
So so now, I'm in a position where I'm a director, and I get that day to day. I get different challenges. We hire new people, we bring in new consultants. We have a variety of different personalities and different people with different motivations. So it's always like the next challenge, like, oh, this person's on my team. I'm going to work with them. I'm going to find out how to motivate them and fulfill them, empower them. Um, so so overall, my goal is to just it's to help people develop their career in a similar way that I was able to develop my career. To provide a roadmap for them to get to that next level. Because I've got 25 years of experience, and I feel like I've been pretty successful, and I've built relationships along the way. And I want to share that information with the folks who work for me, or the people who I encounter through my client workers, things like that.
That is really powerful. And I know I said that I was asking my last question. You just triggered another thought for me, and that is, you've been in this company, for 25 years, and you've grown successfully through the different phases of life and balancing things. And so, what advice would you give to that next generation who wants to do technology consulting and software development around growing in their career?
Yeah, the advice I would give is really determine what your passion is at that moment. Your passions are going to evolve as your career grows. Like that your passion today doesn't have to be your passion tomorrow. But whatever you're passionate about, try to do that. Try to be a part of that, so that it's part of your day-to-day work. So that when you wake up in the morning and you go to work, you get in front of that laptop, and a lot of the folks at Invisia are working remote. They're working from home, but they log in, they log onto that laptop. They can be the best version of themselves because they are genuinely happy. They're not just logging in because they have to. They want to solve problems because they're passionate about it, or they want to write exceptional software, code that they can be proud of, or code that they're going to write one day and they're going to look back and they'll be like, oh man, that's pretty crappy code, because I've gotten better. I've continuously improved, and figured out why that was crappy code. Like that's the evolution of things in the software industry. And I feel like just sharing that detail about being passionate and following your passion, where that, and that passion will evolve. So
And
keep
yeah,
keep, keep following that.
expanding on that a little is, there's this, I guess, stereotype is the word I'll use around developers that they're introverts, they just want to be behind a computer screen. And
Yep.
earlier you mentioned relationships,
Yeah.
internal relationships, and how I'd like to know, like, how did those internal relationships help you to grow and thrive in your career?
Yeah. So I can say, so being based out of Milwaukee, I spent a good portion of my career with a client. So they're a major motorcycle manufacturer based out of Milwaukee. So if you can kind of translate that into to who that is. But so I worked there for about 13 years of my 25 years. And when I came in there, I was kind of that introvert, just kind of sitting in the corner, just pounding on the keyboard, trying to be successful. Uh, but along the way, I started to understand the different aspects of how the business runs and how they have systems and technology in place to run that business. So I was able to help individuals. So I was able to build relationships because people knew me as the person as who was smart about the different systems and how they operate. So uh, building those relationships helped me realize that that's that's one of the aspects of becoming successful in your career development, that you can't do it alone. You've got to have a network of individuals that uh, that you have trust with. So um, I feel like those, like, especially in software consulting, like, I'm not a salesperson. Like, I'm not trying to go out and sell our services. But what I want more than that is the relationships, the idea that, hey, I do have something to offer you. I've got a set of skills, and when you need those skills, you can call on me, you can call on my team, and we can deliver our brand of software consulting.
Mhm.
So those relationships are key to kind of future work, but without having to sell. So it's the idea of sell by not selling.
Yes, keeping the lights on.
Yes, yes, no doubt.
Right, staying top of mind, keeping the lights on, being thought of when there's a new opportunity that is a good fit. Yeah, so having those relationships is important because if you just sit in your, office or cube and don't have those relationships, then no one will say, "Oh yeah, we should call them because they're going to do this and do it the right way." Yeah,
Yeah.
makes complete sense. Well, thank you for entertaining my additional extra questions. I really enjoyed today's conversation with you. And I look forward to seeing this across all of the social media platforms. I also look forward to your continued success. Please keep me posted. And thank you again for your participation on today's podcast.
Nicole, thank you so much. This was a ton of fun.